If you're still dealing with that, to me, especially as your wife, that's troubling. And that's something that I feel like I can help you get over.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Christina and Henry and the situation about the blindfold game. Now, I will say this, language is essential to be used correctly. Otherwise, you can miscommunicate very, very easily. And we see this in this particular episode. So, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, make sure you do me a favor. Yeah? You already know the song. Sing it with me. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. Alright, boom things. Let's go. Alright, cool. So we see in this particular episode Christina and Henry trying to work out their relationship. And I think what's happened, I mean, let's be very frank. This ain't going to work. I'm just going to be honest with you because I don't think Christina can turn it down. She's already stated in this particular episode that she feels it's a non-negotiable, that she wants confidence. Let's break down confidence. I want to be very, very clear. Confidence is not in one aspect. And here's what I mean by that. When people say confidence, what they may mean is that I want a certain level of extrovertedness. Let me make it very clear. When people are saying confidence, sometimes what they really mean is someone who's a bit more extroverted. What I mean by that, in the way they deal with things. So they are very forward thinking. Forward thinking in the way that they behave. So, for instance, how they deal with the opposite sex, how they deal with you in person. Are they quick and direct? Are they energetic? Are they in your face? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they showing that that nothing bounces off them, that nothing affects them, everything bounces off them? You know, that kind of confidence, right? But that kind of confidence doesn't scope every area of our lives. What do I mean by that? For instance, I am an extroverted person. Someone might say to me, how are you so confident to do YouTube? Or how can you be so confident that you can dance in the gym? You understand? Or you can dance in the middle of the street and feel no weight. It's because that's me.
What would be the biggest deal breaker?
Confidence.
I'm extroverted in that sense, but I'm also an introvert in the sense of the fact that I keep myself to myself. I don't release information to everybody. There's only one or two people that are close to me that get a lot of information about how I'm actually thinking and feeling, and that's my introverted self. I'm confident with them. But in terms of other things, for instance, if you ask me to book a holiday, I'm not very confident in that area. You will hear me saying all sorts of excuses not to book this holiday. I'm not confident in that area, right? And so confidence doesn't just mean in one area. Confidence is in different areas. You may not be confident in the way that you handle money. You may not be confident in conflict resolution. You may not be confident in, being able to help people through emotional and difficult times. You may not be confident in the way you handle children. You may not, there's so many different competences of confidence, and confidence comes from being assured of oneself in that moment. Something gives you an anchor, and for those who are obviously Christians, our anchor is Christ. But even with that, the Bible says, a lack of knowledge, my people perish. So in order to feel confident, yes, I must have Christ, but I also must have knowledge in this area. You see, there are many Christians who are not confident with their Bible. Why? They don't read it. So you're not confident when you talk to people about Christ. Deep it. So no matter how much we have Jesus, or you have your faith, or you have your religion, whatever you are, I'm a Christian, it doesn't matter. Because you need to have knowledge in that supposed area in order to be able to have an assurity of oneself. We all start to feel unsure, and those who obviously got a gift of the gab, they've just got a gift of the gab. They're hot air. You understand? But they're confident in the fact that they can speak, and it will take them far. But it can only take you so far if you're not filled with knowledge. You hear me? You will be finally exposed for what you ain't. So here, when she says about she wants confidence and she's attracted to confidence, what she means in the relationship between them two, she lacks a man that takes control and is forward when dealing with her.
It's hard.
All right. When Christina brings up the lack of confidence being a deal.
That's That's what she's experienced in the past. That's what she wants. Okay? And I don't believe anything wrong with that. And I also don't, I wouldn't say it's a problem that she says it's a non-negotiable. It's the way you're delivering the information that I have a problem with. I always say this, how something's said can change what is being said. I'll say that again for you. How something is being said can change how it's received of what you said. You understand? I always use an example. Shut up is different from please be quiet. The two are asking for the same thing, but how one was said is different to how the other was said, and therefore can be received differently. And so here, when she said obviously she wants a man that's confident and it's non-negotiable, unfortunately, she said this at the wrong time and season. This is also important. So let's get into the actual review of what I'm talking about, the blindfold game, yeah?
Like, I'm really critical of myself, and I think a lot of it comes from when I was younger and heavier. And
up to people, right? He confessed it in the game. I want you to understand something. Male or female, but more often males, struggle to be open because women are not safe spaces. I'm not blaming women. I'm saying that due to patriarchy, which is men's fault, and they benefit from it, the repercussion of patriarchy is that a lot of people end up being misogynoir, being sexist, being toxic masculinity, lacking emotional awareness, lacking emotional intelligence, and so therefore dealing with emotions becomes a very hard thing. And so one of the things that I really found about Henry, which was interesting, is that I already knew Henry was suffering from the past. You guys, I think my very first one I spoke about the fact that you're always dictated by your past. Like, that's what oftentimes governs our fears. So here, you know, when Henry's saying, oh, you know what, I'm not very confident, what he's actually saying is, my past has dictated my present right now and my future, because what I experienced then, I don't experience now. What I experienced then, I still see myself as that person. And I think that's real. I think a lot of us can identify with that. You understand? I think a lot of us can identify with that. And the fact that Christina could not identify that is problematic. Because how can you not? You yourself, who is on medication, should be even more tolerant and understanding of someone not being able to do something. You should be more tolerant. This got nothing to do with your impatience. It's to do with your...
If you're still dealing with that, to me, especially as your wife, that's troubling. And that's something that I feel like I can help you get over.
rudeness and your attitude. Anyway, let's continue. Henry was really critical of himself. And, you know, he even said, you know what? He had self-awareness. And you know what I love? Is that Bennett explained this later on when they were talking in the calf, right? Bennett explained and said, it also takes a level of confidence to be able to self-reflect, look somewhat within yourself, address issues that are coming up and say, I got to deal with it. The most confident people may be confident outwardly, but will never check themselves inwardly. And because people see confidence outside, they see confidence outside, which can come across as pride. They never deal with what's inside. Listen, it takes a level of confidence to say to yourself, actually, what's inside of me right now is not great. Actually, what's inside of me needs to be changed. Actually, what's inside of me, like, I didn't realize I was that way. That's not great. Do you feel me? So that level also needs to be able to be, that also needs to be spoken of in terms of confidence. And Bennett explained that beautifully, and I love that.
Like, as a society, when we hear the word confidence, we define that as this.
And again, in this life, you need people that are sensible. Because had he only had Christina in his life, no Bennett, he would have been dead. He would have been dead. He needed that balance to give him, and again, I really believe, just because of what we saw his father in the beginning of the show, the way he teased Henry for being different. I think it contributed to his lack of confidence in the area of when he's dealing with people, like how he deals in relationship. Because the way the father was bantering, I was like, this is too much. Like, it's not every day, sir. It's not every day. And he's probably not like his brothers. The way that he's been, and you have to understand this as well. Not all your children will be the same. You can't deal with your children all the same because they don't all come out the same. The grace of God on people's lives makes them different. They are persons, which means they have different personalities. So if you try to deal with them all the same, as if they all equal, as if they all respond the same, you're gonna have a problem. You feel me? There are certain things that just shouldn't be said. There's certain things that shouldn't be joked about. Yeah, children are frail and they're fragile in their youth, and not everyone can deal with certain banter. Anyway, back to what he was saying. He said himself that he's really critical of himself, and it came from when he was a kid and it was heavier, and he hasn't really recovered from that, and it's added to his insecurity. Beautiful. I love the fact that you're self-aware, Henry. The fact, this is like Woody too. We love the fact that you're self-aware and can take stock, observe yourself, and say, wow, do you know what? This is why maybe I'm the way I am. Okay, maybe that's where I am. And here's the thing. Here is where Christina should have gone to. Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm understanding it. Let me ask you a question. So, like, how was your childhood like then? Boom, we get into conversation. Let me tell you something that I must honor my missus for. We started talking, yeah? And I thought I asked good questions. She was asking questions, trying to know why I do what I do. Why do I think the way I think? And in fact, that is one of the major things she always tells me. Like, a lot of our arguments could be stopped if we ask the why question. Yeah? Asking me, why do you do the way, why? Instead of going into a frenzy of an argument, asking, actually, wait, why did you do that? And giving a person time to be able to respond to that. And this is what Henry needed. He needed somebody to say, hey, why are you thinking like that? Okay, you had a childhood. So what things were said to you? Like, what was happening in your childhood?
And heavier. And a lot of my friends like to theorize that I still see myself that way.
Make him feel comfortable. And I always say this word, safe space. Be in an emotional safe space. This is for both men and women. Emotional safe space is needed for people to be able to express how they feel in totality without feeling like you're going to shame them, judge them, laugh at them. How dare you, Christina, say it's something I think you should be getting over at your age when you were just confessing not long ago that you're on drugs? See? And when you choose certain words, it's peak in it. Because it's not drugs, it's medication. Right? To make you balance, and to make you work, and to make you effective, to make you, be able to operate in this, in life, on a balanced measure. Now, when he was listening to you, did you get that same response that you just gave him? No! You didn't hear him say, look, you should get over it. But you decided to give him that kind of energy. How dare you? Now, that tells me everything more about you than it does about him. Your response tells me more about you than him. It's not just about confidence. Whatever you've gone through, you might have been dealing with some bad people, I don't know. Maybe it's a childhood, maybe it was bad kids. And people are keep saying this, why are you always going back to it? Because everything starts before. It doesn't just happen just now. You know what I'm saying? A tree didn't just suddenly pop up. It was a seed first. Yeah? And depending on what was environment, that's what's going to contribute towards what it's like when it's grown up. Same with Christina. Like, it's not just the impatience, it's the snaps, it's the little rudeness. We saw this earlier on a few weeks ago when she got rude to him and was standing at the door in a pink top or whatever, saying, why are you here, Henry? Why are you here? Like, all that rudeness, it's in you. That snap ability is in you. It's not just your impatience, it's who you are. And you need to change that. Because now it's affected you and how you dealt with Henry. And this should have been a moment where you go, do you know what, I truly understand that, and chose your words with so much preciseness and accuracy. but there was no taking care from Christina, right? And learn to get over it is a dismissive way to deal with somebody's emotion.
If you're still dealing with that, to me, especially as your wife, that's troubling. And that's something that I feel like I can help you get over.
What they've gone through and their history, it's an emotional dismiss where it doesn't take into account that this person is feeling this emotionally. And so there should be an emotional response. One that is not cold or callous. And unfortunately, the response by Christina was cold and callous. Learn to get over it. You should, like, you know what I mean? She's basically saying she feels like he should be over it. When he was merely explaining why he may think the way he thinks. If you feel like he should be further along, then you don't say it like that. Again, choose your words carefully. You know? And so this is concerning for me. It's concerning for me. And she says, obviously, as your wife, that's troubling. I feel it's something that I can help you get over. Excuse me? Are you a freaking guru? Are you a magician? Even between me and my missus, we all have our own insecurities. I don't say to her, listen, it's time to get over it. It doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? When she senses that I may have an insecurity, what she does is that we have a conversation about it. It's like, babe, I felt like this was maybe an insecurity, like what's happened here in the past, and that gives me time to think and go, okay, cool, do you know what? And vice versa, because it's about, you see, it's not about you trying to give an answer. Sometimes it's about you listening. And I just don't feel like Christina is willing to listen. I feel like she has an idea in her head and she has to be executed. And to a point where, even I think it was later on or earlier on, where she said, obviously, when he came back from the conversation with Bennett, she knew that obviously that when he came back with Bennett, she was saying obviously that what was I saying now? I can't remember what I said. But in this particular scene as well, he mentioned that obviously the confidence was his weakest point at this moment. Then for you to pinpoint that and then say to yourself, well, my non-negotiable, my red flag here is the fact that, you're not confident. It's a non-negotiable. When it's his weakness, just as he's confessed to you. Bear in mind, this is not an early conversation. This is something that he's confessing to you in the game of blindfold. There's a way to deal with issues. And this was not the way to address it. You've made him feel like he should no longer open up to you now. Because when he opens up to you, you attack it. And that's what you did. By responding the way you did, you've attacked him. Language is important. The way you describe something can make a huge difference to somebody's heart, life, feelings. And I believe it wasn't taken care of in this moment. So yeah, this is part one of it. I'm going to jump to part two to discuss the Dr. Viviana conversation. But I really felt like Christina was shooting shots at Henry. And if you want it to work, as you're saying, you can't do that. So what needs to happen is that one of the experts needs to come in, get involved, and speak to Christina about her language, the way that she addresses issues, the way that she deals with issues. It's not the first time we've seen this behavior. We've seen it with the producer situation. We saw it with the fact that she felt like, walking out because she was vexed because he wasn't asking questions. We've seen this kind of the way she's tigerish with it, and it's not inspiring confidence or a safe arena for him to be able to express. So yeah, guys, appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded. More love, and we'll talk about Dr. Viviana, Christina, and Henry in the next episode as well. Appreciate you guys.